Alex, watched your first video. A lot of people, they agreed with me, but a good amount were also like, yeah, I'm on the fence, Alex. I'm not buying this conspiracy. I'm not buying it. I watch it, but I'm not full on board. And then they reacted, and then these same people said, you know what, Alex? Now I get it. Now I understand and see. Anyone that acts this way isn't innocent.
All right, hey, what's up, y'all? Phil here again with How to FF6 from Reddit. And as you might have guessed, today's video is going to be the reaction from the bad actors in the first video to the video. Just the same way that clip that we just watched, that's from Alex Sensual's reaction video to his first video. If you remember, his first video is the one where the link is established between Rested XP and Blizzard, and also between Gabby and Rested XP as staff there. And believe me when I say I would love to link all this bad behavior by mods and shard admins to corporate greed, because that's really what it is. But beyond Gabby, there isn't really anything, as far as I can tell, as for connections to anything corporate. Outlands is rooted in the freeshard community. I know Owen made the volcano on Relport 1 and in their Roche Cove. We completely dominated that whole map, by the way. And I know that they've done some work. They've put some work into their game, so I commend them for that, right? Especially Luthien, right? I know a bunch of my buddies, they did the beta, because they're fans of Luthien, right? From Ancorp 2, Ancorp 3, Relpor. So, I personally, I didn't do the beta. They were like, come and do the beta with us, do the Outlands beta. It's going to be a big shard. It's going to be good. I was like, no. I already had I already had some experiences with Luthien and on Ancorp. I was always catching this guy on my boat. I couldn't dry dock my boat because there's no reason. It says somebody's standing on board, but there's nobody there, and so it's a game master standing on your boat, right? Like, no big deal, right? But just there was just no activity on Ancorp, and I just felt like all the time the GMs are right there because there ain't shit going on. Like, there was just no players on Ancorp, right? And so I always got in these situations where I'm always catching the GMs just spying on me, nothing better to do. It's basically a beta. It's basically a test shard, right? When there's no people, right? So, yeah. I got to be able to dry dock my boat in a reasonable time and move on with my life, or I think it was Ancorp 1, maybe 2. We caught these GMs in our house. We went in to restock. We were PvPing out there, right? And went into the house to restock. And when we were inside, we noticed that we couldn't. When we used detect hidden on the floor, that will reveal anybody in your house that's hidden. But the game masters aren't regular players, so the game just didn't have a setting for how to react when a game master was in the house hidden. But the skill didn't work. They made it so that detect hidden wouldn't detect a GM, but they didn't make it so that the message that you get when you reveal people or not, that message wasn't there for game masters. So you could just tell there was a game master in your house. And while we're restocking in the middle of PvP, what are we talking about? We're talking about what we're gonna do in our next move, right? So it looks bad and stuff like that. I never support shards like where I see admins cheating in PvP. I just won't. Uh, you know, the best part of the game is the player versus player because it's the most challenging thing that you can experience in a game, other than you're fighting AI or you're fighting against a human, right? And when you're up against a human in something like player versus player or chess, or something like that, it's a different thing, right? Than going up against a computer, right? Like it's just more challenging. So that's really, the more of a challenge, the better the game is, right? Uh, to skilled players. And we're gonna talk about this Faluca. Well, I got something planned out here. It's gonna be awesome. This is something new that I'm gonna try. And so basically, how this works is I'm just gonna drag some pictures over here. And I just want to explain something. So when the game came out, there was no Faluca. There was just the map, right? And then we all played on the map, and at some point they changed the rules. We could just fight each other, and there wasn't really any penalty. And then finally they came up with this idea for mass murderers to make you red if you killed 5 players, in a certain amount of time, right? So eventually, and so it went on like that for a few years, and then finally what the game developers decided to do was they canceled the skill-based economy and they split the map into 2 different maps, Trammel and Faluca. All right, so we're going to be talking about these 2 concepts a lot. I just figured for people that aren't up to speed on what these terms mean, I better explain it at some point. And so that's what that looks like. Trammel and Faluca, it's the same map, but they basically just copy pasted the map. And when you're in the Faluca map, you can be attacked like regular. You can be attacked when you're outside of town. If you're inside of town, you got the guards protecting you. If you're outside of town, you got no protections. If you're a mass murderer, you turn red. You can be attacked by anyone freely, and they don't become a criminal for attacking you because you're a mass murderer. They're just trying to bring justice back to the realm, right? So, that's what that term means. Basically, a lot of players felt like this Trammel was just, the developers just kind of like, up and came up with it, right? Because they were trying to make more money, and it really sucked because it really kind of screwed things up. For one thing, and this is like a very early MMORPG, so there's not really industry veterans at the time that this is going on. These people are pioneering things, and so, uh, you know, they really went hard on the selling out of the skill based economy here, because all of a sudden there's this extra map. You can get all the same stuff. It's just the same thing, but you can't be attacked in Trammel. But you could be attacked in Faluca by, murderers, right? Somebody who wants to kill you. So they really kind of, they made it so that it didn't matter if you're skilled or not anymore. Really just kind of sucked for a lot of players. And, at the same point in time, they made the game overall less challenging. There's no, there's an easy mode now, basically. Even Richard Garriott was saying recently something about that he wished that he could have protected players better. Honestly, the best way, like, the manuals were great, right? If people read the manuals and they really kind of just studied the manuals a lot, they could be very good players. But at the time that this game came out, there really wasn't like a YouTube where they could have done tutorial videos and stuff like that. And so, I agree with him. He could have protected players better by, leading the way on the videos to teach people how to play the game, right? Developers often they just shrug off learning how to play their games. And then, they leave it up to players. And then they go and they do something like they add Trammel, right? And those PKs, those player killers are mad, right? They call them PKs. They're mad, right? Like, so basic. What happens in the modern era is, people will add an island from Trammel into the game, and so you can get to this island. You start on this island. It's your new player island, right? And you don't have to fight anybody there or anything like that. Uh, you get a bonus to your skill gain, and uh, can't be attacked by other players. And you can do trading there. So the whole skill of stealing is just completely nerfed out of the game, right? I mean, we're going to get into how deep the rabbit hole goes on, how disenfranchised these players are and how cruel Owen is. Just how rude of a person he is. It's ridiculous. I can't even believe some of the stuff that I saw today, but we're going to get into that. Owen is the person who runs Outlands. It's an enclosure scam. And I'm going to show you why today, but let's start with some of the reaction from the video from a couple of days ago. Here's one thing, disclaimer. this right here. Hold up. This is not me. It could be a defamation tactic. I think I've ran into this before as I've tried to cancel some of these enclosure scams over the years, where players I felt have been disenfranchised. I see this tactic from people that I've tried to expose a lot. I think it's defamation. They're just basically making you look like a goofball or something, right? And they're going to allow that. They're going to allow a campaign of harassment in their channel about you, especially while they are trying to say that you're on a campaign of harassment. I'm not trying to harass anybody. These are just the facts, right? I'm just showing you this is what happened, all right? This is how people have reacted, and this is what we've learned, okay? So, right on. This is cool. I really like this setup. I think it's going to be a good thing for exposing clowns in a reasonable time frame. Let's just say that. Okay, so here's Owen. Speaking of clowns, I spend my days making bots. Okay, right on. I mean, yeah, have a good laugh about bots or whatever. I don't even understand, but I just want to say, like, these days in 2023, I think it's getting hard to tell people that it's like, I have to spend all my days making bots. It's not that complicated, right? People can just make a program that automatically, or some AI or something like that, these days, right, makes fake player looking characters and scatters them across the map, and they kind of move around a little bit, and they kind of look real, and maybe they alert the person in charge whenever somebody tries to say their name or something like that. While I was working with Adamant on Siege Perilous, he spent a lot of time, and this is what developers do. They design AI, right? That's just basically what developing a game is all about. Like when you're, you have to fight monsters, like an RPG or something like that. You have to program these monsters, and you have to program these fake humans. They're called non-player characters with artificial intelligence. So that's what I'm saying, right? It's not like a foreign concept. It's literally the basics of RPG development. It wouldn't be that hard to have all these NPC characters that look like real players walking around the map, and then whenever you say their name, like somebody gets an alert, like Gabby Ghouls, right? Gabby Ghouls and Ghosts. Uh, you know, and I guess you can't really post food pictures in the game, right? I'm just saying, like, I don't think anyone is buying this notion that it's all that difficult to have these bots in the channels, bots, among the players. Maybe the bots are out there, they're just kind of listening, right? Like some of the bots in the Discord might be listening, or even some of the people in your guild. You never know, right? Some people just want to have control over everything, and that was a theme from the Alex Sensual WoW videos. Definitely go and watch the video that I started this off with, by the way, and subscribe to Alex Sensual's videos, to his channel, and watch his videos. Like his videos, share his videos, share this video. That's the best way that you can help, right? So let's get into some more of this reaction. This is kind of funny. I thought this was hilarious. Speaking of Alex Sensual videos, here is Gabby Ghouls, and this is part of the reaction from the video. Well, it is very ironic, she says, given the context, that I cannot say 100% that Carmen XO is Alex Sensual, and merely infer from the fucking very good at English, very much like a lawyer or something, and merely infer from the incredible stylistic overlaps. I still find these screenshots hilarious, and this latest video references a DM I sent to Classic HC Mods about Alex Central. Oh, really? I do feel it may be the same person. Well, we're not the same person. I am basically, I would say even just copying his styles in a sense, to get this information out, to try and articulate this information. It's been very helpful seeing an example of what's been going on in my community, in another community. So thanks for that, Alex. Um, it's because Alex Central spoke up, and he was getting harassed and abused, just like the stuff I showed you in the first video. Same thing, same thing. But because he kept going, because he was persistent, uh, somebody in from our community saw his videos, and then when they saw my videos, they connected the dots, right? And saw Gabby and saw Gabby in the channel, and there we are, right? So that's how that worked out. But I do think it's hilarious because my video was about how these enclosure scams work by people controlling all the message boards. They enclose on all the message boards. They enclose on all the shards. They're being really toxic out there to their competition, especially. um, toxic in general, really. And you know, I lost my train of thought here, but I will just say that she's right here. Oh yeah, she's right here saying that she harasses mods. She was harassing mods about Alex Central. The screenshot that she's talking about is the one where she's saying Alex Central is a racist. She's saying that that was actually not in public. So she's not toxic like that in public, I think is what she's going for here, but really she's just admitting that she sent the classic HC mods basically disinformation about Alex Central to try and get him banned. That's what I'm saying that they're doing, right? Like, whoever's on this team with this girl, you got to get rid of her. She's really bad at this. I mean, she's linked the whole thing now. She's admitting to things, right? She scrubbed 3,000 posts in Outlands Discord when she found out I started making this video, right? 3,000 posts is a lot. But I don't know. I can't even really still tell, right? Like I'm just saying, it looks sketchy. She's got 100,000 posts in Outlands Discord. And she's only been there for 2 years. I'll just show you these. I looked it up. I wanted to make some comparisons there and see like has anyone else posted that much? Well, okay. Excuse me. Owen has 227,000 posts. He's the owner of the shard, and he's there every day, watching and listening for criticism, right? And it kind of, he's been there for basically 6 years, right? As compared to Gabby's been there for 2 years. So he's been there for like 3 times longer than Gabby. So he should have about 300,000 posts at the rate that she posts, right? So she's linked to Blizzard sort of indirectly. And, with that, I got kind of excited about hoping maybe I could link this to corporate greed because that could get maybe more people excited about it. People hate that. That's really what this is, anyways. But, without those links, how far will it go? I can't say, but, so he doesn't have 300,000 posts, right? How many does Luthieus have? He's the second oldest person here. 68. Okay, so just about 69,000 results. That's 30,000 less than Gabby, and I just, I guess you could say though that he's usually busy coding. So, but still, it doesn't look that great for Gabby being there. 100,000 posts. It's a little suspicious, and that was my whole point, right? It's kind of an inhuman amount of posts. These days, you do have to kind of be looking out for these things. I think, Anyways, let's take a look here. What else do we have for reaction? BB Guild, I think. Ramza Build. All right. I listened to this whole thing. I still don't know what this scam is. right? Okay. Well, you're gonna find out if you watch this video, especially, and this one's gonna be shorter than the last one. At least I think it is. There's a lot here to go through, so I guess I'll try and speed it up this time. Listening to my critics, I'm not trying to silence you. Listen to the whole thing. I still don't know what the scam is. Owen, nervous laughter. Well, all right, let's get into that. Oh wait, there's another channel that we're posting in here, and it looks like Monkey. Oh, Monkey from Sagas. Sagas is another free shard. It's another server. These are private Ultima Online servers that we're talking about. Sorry, I meant to kind of clarify that at the beginning. Carmen XO was banned from the server because of threatening and making the community crazy. Okay, that's hilarious, and it's true because really, uh, the community did go crazy as soon as the video went out. Macro Planet was in there all day harassing me, all day just harassing me to come in there and get harassed basically. Where the moderators are doing nothing to enforce their rules at all, totally nothing at all, just letting all the toxic harassment out and then saying and then victim blaming and openly admitting it's victim blaming and making the community crazy, right? Everyone was out there breaking all these rules basically, so that person was banned, right? And that's pretty much how it goes, right? um let's take a look here. What else do I got here? Oh yeah, that's right too. They scrubbed Sagas scrubbed the whole channel of all the harassment. Right. Like I said before, as soon as you're scrubbing, you're just looking dirty. They had this off topic. It was off topic where we were doing all this conversating before, and where the video was first released, and it's gone. She's gone. The whole channel had to go. That's unfortunate. Oh well. Um, Very good. I don't think anyone is really all that fooled by these people with their antics. As I've shown you, they are basically spelling it out for you because they are not getting this whole video thing that's going on right now. All right. You remember I might have said something about Owen not being all that professional of a person. Yep, fuck Flube. There you go, right? Right on. He's just I looked it up. I think 1,600 times or something this guy is connected to the word fuck. Which I guess isn't too many times over the period of 6 years, but maybe if you're supposed to be professional, right? If these people that are playing your game, they've really fallen in love with it, let's just say. And they got bros that they play with that they want to play with, let's just say, right? You might want to maintain professionalism. I don't know. And this Flube guy, he's a good PvPer, and that's something that I kind of wanted to point out. If you're a good PvPer, people will say your name, and they'll say it a lot. You'll be at the bank, in the game, collecting your gold or depositing your gold, and people will be asking you. They'll be trying to get your attention by saying your name. If you're a good PvPer, you get a lot of attention because in the skill-based economy, and that's what the Faluca rule set is a skill-based economy. You basically have all the power, right? I think that in a lot of these free shards, what happens is these people, they advertise as Faluca, but they don't really know how to maintain it. They don't really know how to manage it. Or, sometimes I guess it just gets in the way. Anyways, there's lots of this. There's lots of this. Just 1,600 of just gross. Oh, this is a double now. What do we got here? Yeah, that's who you're dealing with here. That's Owen, right? So introduction to Owen. Welcome to the videos. Oh, here's Sagas. I wanted to mention this. I noticed this announcement in Sagas Discord channel, and if you look at the bottom there, it says it says Blood Clan spelled out, and there's a bunch of upvotes on here, and I just had worked on a shard called Siege Perilous with a guy named Adamant, old buddy of mine named Yor. we were trying to put together classic factions, a classic shard, I guess, classic gameplay. That's what I thought we were doing. And you know, these orcs in this U guild, they come over and they kind of post a lot of Matrix memes and stuff like that in the middle of the night, you know, when most people are sleeping at that hour, and it almost seems like those people were even sleeping at the time. They come to the channel and there's lots of them. You know, I think what I'll do is I'll link, maybe I'll show a clip of the botting. When I do the botting video, I'll use a clip from Siege Perilous, these orc events. Like, are those real players, guys, or what are we doing here? You know, it just makes me wonder, right? And this was something that I was pointing out on the subreddit, the Ultima Online, a lot, right? Like, because I was just kind of reporting the numbers, the actual amount of activity, right? Rather than just looking at the numbers, I'm looking at the activity, because that's how you have to gauge these shards in 2023 when there is botting going on. You know, people do have this logic that it's, you know, I can run this game with fake players, and you know, you can see that logic right in Macro Planet, because what he wants to do is he wants to run the sub with bots. He wants to have bots post his mundane Monday posts, and he wants to have bots posting basically to make it look like he's active. He doesn't ever want to lose mod privileges right now, or at all, by basically being inactive, right? So he's got bots. He's got bots to keep you all excited about Ultima Online with, you know, and I'm just saying that's the auto moderator, but I'm just saying, you know, it's botting in general. It's like this general mindset that botting is going to fix anything. Don't don't change whatever your product is for these orcs, because as soon as one of them goes, they all are gone. And that's something that I know, so I want to share that with you. You know, not that I'm trying to help Sagas, because I know they're dirty now. Um oh yeah, here we go. Here's Owen. All right. We know this guy likes to swear a lot. Now now let's look at the rules here. Okay? This is the guy, this is the leader, right? This is the guy who understands that leaders have to take on personal responsibility, right? This is the leader of the shard, right? Not just some D-bag that made a map, right? No, well, okay, right? He is. You may only use Razor or Steam gameplay assistance. Other permitted tools and blah blah blah. Okay, I guess I don't have to read all that. Let's go to this griefing part, right? This is really important for this video. You will not do anything that interferes with the ability of other Outlands players to enjoy playing the game in accordance with its rules, right? So don't break any rules. Okay, that's normal for everywhere. This includes, but is not limited to, excessive verbal harassment. Okay, remember that. Negativity. Okay, remember that. Vulgarity. Okay, remember that one. Intentionally trapping players. Okay, that's a D-bag move. You know, using ghost scouts, you know, another, you know, cheaty tactic, right? Play the game the way, you know. When it comes to PvP, I really hate cheating. I really hate it. So dishonorable, and it just ruins the game, right? Like I told you, like the whole challenge, it takes away the challenge. Someone's playing on easy mode, and it just frustrates everybody, right? And it's just totally dishonorable. Uh, uh, okay, using Ghost Scouts, blah blah blah. Negativity, vulgarity, excessive verbal harassment. Right on. It's just another gray area. Negativity, right? Negativity, as we covered in the first video, is criticism. Criticism is negative feedback. So any criticism could be taken as negativity, right? We're gonna see how balanced Owen is, though, as we go through this video. So just keep in mind that his rules, you know, he doesn't follow them, but you know, like a leader should. All right. uh all right, let's see, what do we have here? Oh yeah, I wanted to show you this. This I actually meant to start off with this a little bit more, but you remember how I really wanted to tie things in with corporate greed. I played Relpor, and I remember this Verindi guy, right? I seen in this other channel the other day. Uh, I think he was saying that he works for Wizards of the Coast, right? So this is one thing. I was looking at this guy today, and actually went right back. You know, this is didn't seem like he was being very polite. Like, if you work for Wizards of the Coast, you think you should be out there in the community, like, being very respectful and professional. But give or take, whatever. I looked into it, and uh, this guy, you can see. I had another screenshot where it showed that he was this unicorn magic, but it's the same guy, anyways. Um, he I think he was a developer on Relpor. I can't remember. He mentions Admiralis in one of these. Admiralis ran a private server on Ultima Online called Relpor. But I look back at Outlands history, and I look back and I realized he was around in the beta, but he wasn't a developer there. I thought he was, but it looks like he was working on Sims or something at the time. So, one less link to corporate greed from Outlands. But like I said, it's the same thing anyways. It doesn't really matter. It would say something though. I think it would really say something if if corporations were doing this. I'm sure they want to just detach their name from all of it, for sure, and they should. But if corporations were using funds, for hardware, for botting, or to set up these enclosure scams or anything like that, and this probably is going on, right? Gamers are really hard done by, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but I'm just trying to protect people from jerks, right? Like one of the things that happened since the first video came out is I actually got banned from my guild. My guild of homies, people I've been, out there playing Faluca shards with, Faluca based private servers with for over a decade, right? Maybe even closer to 12 or 13 years, maybe 15 years at this point. I don't really know, but I got kicked out of Rats, right? I shared the first video in the Rat Discord. Rat is a guild in Outlands, and I don't even play Outlands. I had already had enough of Luthien, basically, with Ancorp being on my boat all the time and spying on me all the time. Started off playing Outlands, and it was one of those situations where you have this house, you have this house in this area that all of a sudden the GMs, they don't like the fact that that house is there, and they want to say it's illegal, or they want to, they're just going to overstep on you. They're going to step on you because they don't really know how to deal with these situations, right? These are private shards run by volunteers. They don't really know what they're doing, right? And so part of these videos, part of what I'm trying to do is I'm going to try and set an example of what's not to do, what to do, right? And I do have to say, I worked really hard on launch day there. I think I was up all night. I got a house spot in Corpse Creek. That was a good spot. And, as soon as I set up that spot, and then they took away the guard, they took away the fact that that Moongate had guards, which I thought was going to be really fun because then the blues could be in guards there at the gate. The reds are in the gray territory. As soon as you run into it, you're gray, so you can be attacked. It's kind of like that whole Buccaneers Den. It's a PvP hotspot, right? They totally turned it into Trammel, right? Totally disenfranchising Faluca players again. Anyways, when I had that house there, they took away the guard line there, so they devalued those houses without even mentioning anything to anybody. They actually bulldoze a whole mountain. Like, this is what I'm saying, everything is for sale, right? These guys don't care about you and everything's for sale. They'll bulldoze a whole mountain out of the game if you don't like it there, if you have the cash, I guess, because and then when it comes to somebody who hasn't really contributed, let's just say, to the donation in the donation realm, they're not even going to come up and ask you about your house, right? They're just going to come and put invisible walls around your house so that, Luthien basically built an event right beside my house. And one day I gave that house to a buddy, and, one day I just couldn't teleport off his roof anymore. And I was like, what the fuck, man? I guess Luthien put some invisible walls around the house and didn't mention anything to anybody, right? Just a dick move. That guy was excited about that house. He thought he was going to have fun there. And it was kind of, they had lots of time in their beta and stuff to check things out. Maybe I should have tried the beta, but the reason I didn't go to the beta is because, I didn't want there to be any of this. I want the GMs to take the onus. Like, I didn't know this house could be placed here and you weren't gonna like it kind of stuff. I hate that. So, it, and then it looks bad if you find a house plot like this happened to me on Siege Perilous. Or sorry, it happened to me on Angel Island. I placed a house in a spot, I knew it probably was because I'm a veteran player, right? Like I kind of had an idea that the house shouldn't be there because it kind of could be placed a little too close to the buildings that Adam had set up, and but it looked really cool, and I because of all the shit that I did for the game or whatever, right? I didn't think it mattered, but no, he just wanted the house right gone, like right removed. Uh, no real ifs, ands, or buts. He really just told me that's what was going to happen, and that was that. And totally unprofessional, but whatever. I at the time the guy was paying me a lot of money. Um, I okay, so I was in the Rat Guild, right? I got kicked out of the Rat Guild. That's what we were talking. I asked my buddy what happened, and because there wasn't really any talk about this. There was one person when I shared the video in there that immediately attacked me. Pay attention to that because it's kind of interesting. I posted the petition in the Rat Guild channel, uh, and nobody said anything. Nobody really cared. I can't remember if there was anything, but there's nothing, no negative feedback on that at all. But then when I posted the last video, it was just somebody attacked me. I can't remember, bottle farts or something like that. My buddy was like, I think he actually got kicked out of the guild for coming at me. And so I thought everything was all good. And then I just noticed, like, the next morning I woke up, I wasn't in the channel anymore. Nobody said anything to me. I thought that was weird, right? So, I had to ask my buddy, like, oh, what happened? I noticed I'm not in the Rat Discord anymore, like, he said, uh, he didn't really know, but he was just like, it seemed like anti-Outlands sentiment was the reason that I got kicked out of the guild, right? Okay, that's no problem, right? Like, they're primarily Outlands. These guys are like, they go back with Owen, and I know some of them played in Roche Cove and stuff like that. Like, I think some of them are buddies with Owen, right? So there's that, right? Uh, at least they know him or something, right? But at the same time, you know, um, anyways, just make a note of that. So then he tells me, so he said, Outland sentiment, right? And then he sent me this. I want to remain anonymous, and you're gonna find out why. He said we had an issue in the past with a member who went nuclear, uh, against Owen. That's Owen. That's who I'm talking about when I'm saying Owen. He's the owner of Yo Outlands, with Luthien. And okay, so we had an issue in the past with a member who went nuclear against Owen and claimed a suit with his bank contesting his donations to Outlands after he quit, got banned, right? We're going to clarify what exactly happened. Owen was going to do us over like the Money Guild because of it. Money Guild, really skilled players. They came in, they really dominated really hard, and Owen just he couldn't handle it because he can't run Faluca, right? He just can't. Uh, Still says to this day it's Faluca rule set, and yet he's disenfranchised those players so many times in so many different ways. It's ridiculous. Um, the Money Guild was one group who I stood up for who got disenfranchised for being skilled. Owen was interfering in PvP, right? And and that's it, and that's final. Like that's what happened. I guess there wasn't any proof because there wasn't any video of Owen doing it, but he was kicking their characters out of the dungeon. They had multiple characters in the dungeons, and this was before there was a rule against multiple characters in dungeons. And so there's no rule at the time, and Owen or GMs were kicking the guild, Money Guild, their characters out of the dungeon, interfering in PvP, uh, and very unprofessional again. Not coming to anybody, not making rules first, just totally zero professionalism from Owen, and that's what he does. So, you know, and that's what really, That's where we're getting into scam territory there, because you're taking money, right? And you're giving out these advertisements, and your advertisements are really professional. So you're attracting people to come and pay with this promise of professionalism, really. And then they get here and it's this dipshit, right? And he's a total D-bag. We're gonna get into that. Owen, so this is what I'm talking about right here. We had an issue in the past with a member who went nuclear against Owen. He claimed a suit with his bank, contesting his donations to Outlands after he quit or got banned. Owen was going to do us over like the Money Guild because of it. We spent hours in DMs with him and showing screenshots proving this wasn't a whole guild coup. Okay. Wow. Wow. Okay. So I can see why they want to remain anonymous on this, and I'm sure these guys have lots of screenshots of that too. So I wouldn't mess with them at all. But so when I asked for clarification on the quit got banned, I'm told Owen temp banned him from Discord at first, right? So it's a temp ban. Okay. Those don't exist. There's only one. There's you're kicked and you can't get back in, or you're banned and you're done, and you're not able to join, and that's what happened. It's a permanent ban, right? It could be lifted, but if you don't tell somebody right away that this is a temporary ban and this is how long it's for, right away, then it's a permanent ban, and that's it. Owen temp banned him from the Discord at first. Gildy took that as a dick measuring contest, resulted in IP ban because he kept taking it up a notch. So disrespecting Owen, right? Remember that. And then finally, he just says to me, I get your frustration, man. I respect your cause. Outlands is my escape to relax, and if I didn't have that after work, honestly, I would just drink myself to sleep. Instead, I have a group of brothers to vent with. So I hope you understand my position on this, right? He's just saying he would be bored. There's nothing else to do around where he's at, but, probably go to the liquor store because there's just really nothing around it. And there's really just not a lot of games. Right now there's really no other shards, and I think a lot of that has to do with the kind of toxicity that the moderators have been allowing and the censorship of scams that they have been, that they've been doing. Moderators across from different shards and all of our message boards seem to be taken over by Enclosure Scams right now. It's really sad. So I do get it, right? But that's the problem too, right? I went looking after he told me this, right? And I've got 5 or 6 buddies in that guild, maybe 7 or 8 at this point. From Siege Perilous, so we were a guild that was on different shards, multiple shards, right? But like I said, they're primarily Outlands. Still, there's not really any rules about anti-Outland sentiment. At least I wasn't aware of any. So I went looking in Outland's Discord, just to see if I could find any examples of this kind of thing, because it seems like if it happens once, it's probably happening more often than you'd think, right? I'd hate to see what goes on in behind closed doors with this guy. Let's take a look. Okay, so what I found was interesting. There was this ban situation that I came across from 2021. Looks like September. Owen's there saying, I'm not sure where I said permanent ban, especially given the private conversation I was having with Jack, right? So it sounds like this is kind of threatening. Let's go back to private conversations, Jack. That's what I want to do. I want to be in behind closed doors for this one, right? And also, with the whole, I never said permanent ban. It is a permanent ban. That's the function, right? That's just what it is, right? It's temporary. You told the person they know it's temporary, and so there's no confusion. Or it's a permanent ban. So it's a permanent ban. I'm trying to say it isn't. Just for the record. And then he's saying, anyways, this display is gross. He's saying this display is gross. And I've run out of sympathy to adjust the ban. So now this is gross, and I am done. Now it's a permanent ban for speaking out, right? I was considering reducing it as our private conversation was very civil, but this is just stupid. It was, and then Jack gets back, and Jack is here. He's basically defending his friend, which Owen just permanently banned. Okay, uh, that's what's going on here. So Jack says it was, and uh, when I asked for clarification, you went silent. Okay, uh, that's only this incident after literal years of this shit. Remember when Macro Planet was trying to say it was going on for weeks, right? You get a warning then, right? If this was going on for literal years, this guy would have got, fair warnings, right? It doesn't seem like that happened at all here. Uh, somebody's asking about it. There's people. This is happening in Outlands general Discord, so this is in public, and that's why you'll get to see how blatant things get in public, right? Or when you're in a private conversation with subreddit mods that they know the admin is going to read, right? It's also public, basically. You'll get a lot of blatant harassment in there. If you wanna see the first video, like, in there. Jack says, "Yeah, a great guildmate. This is who got banned. A great guildmate who would give you the shirt off his back." Oh, here's another troll. Are you kidding? Wants to come in. Honestly, if this is how he responded to staff when they came to speak to him, you pretty much know he ended up getting what he deserved. You want to be a disrespectful piece of shit. You don't really get a lot of leeway. Okay, what is he? What was said? Well, hurry the fuck up, man, because this is bullshit. Okay, he's saying it's bullshit because Owen's abusing him, right? Here's Are You Kidding? He's an enabler. He's enabling the abuse by Owen here. Here's Jack, and he's responding to that. But from nothing to permanent, really? Okay, so now we're learning that there was really no warning. This is what these people this is what Jack feels like. This is what others have felt like. Remember, this is how I felt in the community with Macro Planet. This is the problem with all the mods in our community that I've been telling you is happening because of these enclosure scams, right? And I only found this because Owen, it seems like Owen must be the reason that I got kicked from this rat guild, because it's looking pretty bad right now. Too bad he doesn't give a fuck about respecting a single word, warning, punishment, or ban. Okay, doesn't respect you, Owen. Why? What? Why would that happen? What's going on here? Oh, it's Gabby Ghouls. I noticed that she changed her terrible vile nickname that she had going before. Now it's Pure. Yeah. Well, I guess that's why we can't moderate subjectively, right? What? Oh, she's in there, and this is some of her first posts, by the way. This is like right after she joined the channel. Why is this? It's not like the very first, or it's like in the first dozen or something. I mean, it's in there in the beginning of her 100,000 post history, by the way. Why do I feel like he looted that shirt off someone fresh out of young status? Well, so this is just a PK we're hearing now. This is just a terrible griefer. This is a terrible guy. Okay. Um, Now there's a staff member saying it's cherry picking by saying, "Yep, a great guildmate who would give you the shirt off his back. No warning for a permanent ban, really. Was asking for clarification if it was permanent, and then you just are saying it is now before even clarifying it, right? Because still he won't do that. He's a bully. Think about this. This is the best analogy for bullies, right? They're holding something over your head. You can't reach it. They've got control over it, and you can't reach it, and that's a bully. And this temporary ban notion is all about, right? If you're disrespectful after I disrespect you, then it will be a permanent ban, and everyone will say it's your fault. Even my buddy in the Rat Guild, apparently, right? So, right here we get to the heart of the issue. Faluca based shard, right? You're allowed to, loot the shirt off someone if there's a shirt on their corpse. You're allowed to loot it. Uh your new player friend can't just expect to come into a skill-based economy and win, but they can expect to have fun as they learn and, you know, have these experiences where they overcome these challenges, and it's truly just the most rewarding thing. As soon as somebody gets their first win in player versus player on this game, it's got very great clean player versus player mechanics. It's very easy to control your character in two-dimensional overview like that. As compared to like 3D, right? It's kind of harder to control your character, especially um, compared to Ultima Online. It's very clean, and it's one of the best things. One of the things that's keeping this old game alive is because it has that challenge and that clean player versus player combat. And so it's something that you want to kind of build your systems around. And like I said with Richard Garriott, if they could have done more to teach people, right, then that would have been great. But I just think these corporations, they don't go out and look for skilled players, and they don't go for talent, right? That just costs money. So, and this Faluca stuff, it looks good, you can advertise as it, but then, if you can't really do it, then you can't really do it, and you're just going to be looking silly out there. So I just think people should just not false advertise, right? Show me in the rules where casting invis is against the rules. What? He casted a spell and this is what started this whole thing? Okay. Owen said, sorry, but this isn't about casting invis. That's all he said, but I forgot to grab a screenshot of that. But here it is in the reply. And then Jack's like, well, that's what got him jailed. He was invising people's pets that were tanking at the time. So somebody's out there using their pet in the game. The pet takes all the damage while they, fight and do whatever. And when somebody comes and casts invisibility spell on that pet, all of a sudden the monsters switch their target to something else. And it kind of screws these new players up a little bit. Keeps them on their toes. This kind of struggle will happen in Faluca in the skill-based economy because basically that's a veteran player coming in and he wants to farm those monsters. Now you'll have to move on if you can't beat him, right? Can't beat him at his own game. If you're not better than he is, he gets the spot. That's how Faluca works, right? But now we're finding out that Owen's here disenfranchising this player. This is his buddy in the channel, like begging Owen to just let him play with his buddy, right? Just like my rat buddy wants to play with his buddies at the end of the day, right? That's what this guy is saying. He wants to play with his buddy, right? Owen, you're giving you all this money, man. Be respectful, right? But no, this is what we get instead. Here it is, right here, spelled out for everybody. He was griefing a new player. This is subjective. Griefing a new player, training a skill. And after the third res kill and page, so that he got multiple pages from this player, I intervened by sending him to jail. So there's Owen interfering in PvP in Faluca, disenfranchising players, as he sees fit. The disrespect I was met with was the straw that was the real reason for the ban. And after it was the last straw that broke the camel's back, after years of being a non-contributor. There it is right there, folks. There it is. Greed. Corporate greed. It's not really corporate greed. If he's not corporate, it doesn't really matter. That's what it is. This is greed. You know what I'm saying? The guy is a non-contributor. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter if he's a contributor. He does the same crap to the Rat Guild. The same crap happened to their buddy who was a donator. So that's what they meant with that bank thing, is that he was like, well, hey, man, if you're not going to give me a reason for ban, if you're gonna go to my guild and harass my guild and threaten them if they don't kick me out of the guild, and this is my longtime buddies I just want to play with, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. You're supposed to respect this guy. Fuck that. Don't respect Owen. He's a douchebag. Stop giving him your money. Stop playing his game. Stop supporting him. That's what you have to do. I get that you just want to play with your buddies, but so did Jack, and so did Jack. And how does it look that you guys are all just watching this go on for the last 5 years? It looks terrible. You guys are grown men. Stand up to this prick already. Don't play his game. Don't give him your personal data. Don't give it to Gabby Ghouls. Don't do these things. It's ridiculous. Don't do it. Owen is ridiculous. He's a scammer. It's an enclosure scam. They're all doing it. And you know what? That's where they're getting it from, right? The corporations, because they're all running scams. All the games are scams. You can't even find a game that's not a scam. You get scam calls all day on your phone. Any of the phone games are scams. They're all pay to win. We have no safe space from these goons. We really just don't. Unless I can get that subreddit. And you know what, the reason that it has to be me to do the job is because I'm out here trying to define these things, trying to draw the line, trying to figure out where we should draw the line as a community, what we should tolerate, what we shouldn't tolerate, what's getting our buddies hurt out there, and what we're supporting with our dollars and with our time. Because this is terrible. It's awful. And he's a punk. He doesn't even know how to play this game. He's just a punk. Really, you should just tell him. You should all just tell him you're a punk. Go and get some. If you've ever been in behind closed doors with this guy, share the screenshots. You know, keep those screenshots at least if you're playing there. If you're so addicted that you're just gonna keep playing there, get some screenshots from those behind closed doors situations. And if Owen comes around, he wants to swing the banhammer your way, just tell him you got the screenshots, man. You'll share them with Uncle fucking Rec, and he'll put you on blast on YouTube, because that's what I'm gonna do. Nothing is gonna stop me, because this isn't going away. I want to tell you why right now. Here's the thing, all right. I just, for one thing, I really hope that Reddit is paying attention to this movement here, because gamers are tired of all this scam attempts coming from all sides, like I've been saying, and it is enough is enough. Gamers have paid a high enough price already, and we deserve to have a space where we can sit down at the end of the day and relax and know that we're all good, and we're not going to have like terrible drama coming our way if we don't say what we're told to say, or respectful of somebody who you can't respect, because it's impossible. It's impossible. Here's who I'm really standing up for the most. Okay, it's the paraplegics out there. It's not just the paraplegics, but paraplegic is one example of somebody who, these games mean a lot more to them. Okay, I think it was a couple years ago I was dating a girl who was deaf, and she really had a deep attachment to a guy on a video game. One of the MMOs, I can't remember which one. She had a really deep connection with the game, and thus she had a really deep connection with the people in the game, and I guess her friend had passed away. And it just goes to show how many people, how much these games actually mean to some of these people. Whereas, people like Owen are just treating it like it's a way to get a bag of chips, right? It's a way to get a bag of chips and a slush. And smile about himself and feel good about himself because he made a custom map in a game, and this is how he's treating people. And I just want to say, whatever he does at this point, it doesn't matter. Whatever Gabby does at this point, it doesn't matter. Every move they make right now is a bad one until they do right. This is not going away. This is going to continue, and if you want to help the movement, you really have to do the subscribing thing. You really have to do it for Alex too, I would say. Anybody that you see doing this kind of thing, definitely support it as much as you can. I just there's a lot more dirt in this rabbit hole, and it's going to get a lot deeper, and there's going to be people out there with egg on their face. It's going to be hilarious. And I'm saying that because I know they're not going to change, because that's just not their plan. Their plan isn't to do right, because they can't do right. They just can't do it. They can't run the game because they can't run Faluca, because they can't teach players how to play a game they can't play. That's basically it. And they're not trying to, I guess they Outlands supports their streamers and stuff, but they're not really teaching their players to PvP because they're keeping them sheltered, right? They're keeping them sheltered, and there's always going to be shelter for them because Owen hates these situations where he has to go out and, you know, screw up by banning someone from, and then they can't play with their friend, and he knows, but he doesn't quite get it, right? He doesn't quite get it, and I don't know what's not really to get about just basic respect for the people here. So nobody said Outlands didn't put the effort in. Nobody said they didn't deliver on content. The only thing they did, the only thing they didn't deliver on is Faluca, the Faluca rule set. And I think you should think about it like this. If you're not into games, but you know, you've been watching these videos, think about it like this. There's rules. Okay, it's all gameplay, right? Gameplay, right? There are rules for players, and then there's a rule set for admins. Okay, the players follow the rules, the admins follow the rule set. That's what they have to do, right? And if they can't do it, it's false advertising. So if you're making one of these shards, like if I was moderating, it would be very difficult to false advertise, you know, and I will be defining different things like these scams, you know, anything I can to protect players. It's only if I'll ever get the sub, but I'm not ever gonna stop trying to take it at this point. There's no reason to leave it with Macro Planet. He's obviously a bad actor. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, I hope that I have growing support in the community. Because I need that. I hope that Owen just shapes up, man, because that would be great. They just have no respect for anybody. Everything is for sale. They take your money, they ban you on a whim. No discussion. They disenfranchise players after 5 years of donating to them, and without even a second thought, they just change the rule set. Like, you know, everybody hates that when you're playing Monopoly and, you know, the banker makes new rules or something, right? Like halfway through the game or whatnot, right? And that's basically all it is. That is really all it is. And from what you've seen from Owen, he's that kid. He's that kid that does that, you know? He's just that guy. Like he's not gonna change, I don't think. He would have done it by now. It's been 5 years, and I really wish, you know, 5 years ago when Luthien put up those invisible walls and I quit, I wish I would have talked my buddies into quitting at the same time, because this is what they've been supporting. This 3 years later after that, this is when this Jack guy, this all happened. They played that shard for years together before Owen did this shit. Right? And there's two sides to every story, but I think the facts speak for themselves. And that's good enough for me. I already know Owen. I already know he's a D-bag. He's banned me personally from lots, like a lot, all the time. He just does it. Never been a rule violation. Dupe, what? Where's the gold, buddy? You know what I mean? He's hilarious. Owen, you know, he remembers me too because, and you know, he just remembers me because he's got a good visual reminder of me every time he looks out on his Buck's Den, which is now basically Trammel. I think I went there at some point to PvP, and you can't attack anybody there. It's like, you know, well, I personally can't tell if they're bots because I can only really tell when I'm PvPing, right? Then I can kind of tell. You know, it's kind of hard to tell though. I think if you're playing on a game like Outlands, and really when Owen's disenfranchised all these Faluca players, they're mad. They're mad about it, so they're taking it out on all the players that are there, showing them a bad time, right? So it's just a bad situation anytime anybody tries to cheat to get ahead, right? Anytime somebody's you know, trying to take more than they deserve, right? I don't know what else to say. Obviously, this guy's a hemorrhoid, and you know, I'm done with watching people abuse people like this and get away with it because I am an adult and I don't want to see this shit anymore. I'm done with it. Like I want a place where I can go when I get off work and go home and hang out with my buddies and not have to worry about if I'm gonna get kicked out of my guild for making fun of this Owen, or if my petition's gonna get messed with because Macro Planet doesn't want his name on the internet, even though that's where it is. Like literally, you can't get rid of it there. It only exists there, buddy. Whatever. Bad actor. Stay tuned for the next video. It's gonna be awesome, and I hope you're liking this style of video creation because I think it's kind of handy. for exposing these people. Cheers.